Let's continue with the free personality tests, which I'm taking for my original characters from my stories and novels on 16personalities.com. Today we're going to focus on Ivar Ridderholt, who is the other protagonist of my novel Equilibrium Point, set in contemporary Norway. Ivar is an executive working for his family's company, and he is an introvert, quite an emotionless person who is deeply affected by ennui, boredom, and dissatisfaction with everything and everyone around him. And even though he tries to dispel this listlessness with extreme sports and quite dangerous activities, he doesn't really manage to. He is also in a relationship in the book with Ulf Solberg, the other protagonist, for whom I've taken another test linked in a card on the screen. So let's see what Ivar's personality type is. You regularly make new friends? Definitely not. He doesn't like spending time with people. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. When he does have free time, yes, he loves reading a lot of things and physically exploring places. Seeing other people cry makes you feel like you want to cry. No, he doesn't feel like crying ever. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. Yeah, I think he does. He's very organized. Usually stay very calm even under a lot of pressure. Yes, he does. He does. At social events, you rarely introduce yourself to new people. Definitely, he doesn't like social events. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Yes, you're very sentimental. No, definitely not. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Yes, I think he does. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. No, definitely not. He doesn't really care about. He does care about making mistakes, but he doesn't doubt his abilities and knowledge. He's obsessed with not making mistakes. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone and striking up a conversation? No. Thankfully, Ulf was the one who came to Ivar, not the other way around. Otherwise, we would not have a relationship, we would not have a novel. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analysis of creative works. Interestingly, in spite of seeming a very prosaic person, Ivar actually loves creative works. He loves analyzing them. He likes reading, he likes watching films and theater, and he loves analyzing them. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Yeah, totally. Usually prefer doing what you feel at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. No, he's a planner. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people. Yeah, he doesn't care about people's opinion, and he's quite confident. You enjoy participating in group activities? No, if they are work related, he can tolerate them because he focuses on the goals, but he doesn't like them. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending? Definitely. He hates stereotypes and boring and predictive pieces of fiction. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments? No, he's very goal-oriented. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. No, I don't think so. His interests are not so varied that he cannot keep up with them, and he's not easily distracted. You're prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Wow, this is a difficult one because he's quite a pessimistic person. He doesn't spend a lot of time worrying, but he just accepts that the worst will always happen and it's just a matter of time. So he's very pessimistic, but he doesn't worry about it, if that makes any sense. You avoid leadership? No, he seeks leadership roles because he thinks he is the best person to do them. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. Again, he seems very prosaic, but even though he doesn't do art himself, and he would never do art himself, He understands art better than most people with his personality at least. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality. Totally. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. You enjoy watching people argue. No, he doesn't care. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. I guess he does, but at the same time, when he was a teenager, he used to be a metalhead walking with heavy makeup and spikes and chains and leather, so I guess he didn't care about drawing attention. You're and he's proud of being different from most people. So I guess small agree. Your mood can change very quickly. No, he's quite steady. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. Yes, but he doesn't show it in an emotional way. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. No, he sticks to schedules. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. Totally, he has been reading extensively. He loves philosophy. He thinks about existential things all the time, and he bonds over them by discussing these topics with Ulf. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. No, he loves being on his own. You become bored or lose interest when highly theoretical things disagree. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. Yes, I disagree. He doesn't find it easy. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. No, he doesn't postpone. You rarely second guess the choices that you've made. Yes, I guess for most things he doesn't second guess. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is the opposite of what he needs. You enjoy going to art museums? Yes, he does. Any type of museums. He prefers something more scientific, but as long as it's a museum. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Yes. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Yes. You rarely feel insecure. Yes. He doesn't feel insecure. You avoid making phone calls. Well, for social things he would avoid, but then in his line of work he has to make a lot of phone calls and he doesn't mind doing that very much. He does it when it's necessary. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. I guess if it's about someone that he cares about, he would spend a lot of time. He spends a lot of time contemplating Ulf. So, I guess, in your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends. No. If your plans are interrupted, you want to go back on track. You are still bothered by mistakes you made a long time ago. Well, no, not really. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence. No, he thinks about the meaning of life and talks about it with Ulf. Your emotions control you more than you control them. No, on the contrary, he has trouble expressing his emotions. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it's completely their fault. No, he doesn't have a hard time rebuking people on mistakes they've made and calling them out. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy. No, he takes a lot of coffee and still he doesn't have energy. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take for them to feel disappointed. No, he's very confident. You would love a job that requires you to work alone. Totally, but he needs to work with people, sadly. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is definitely not a waste of time. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres. No, he's all for quiet and intimate places. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. No, definitely not. You often feel overwhelmed. Okay, this is difficult. He feels overwhelmed with ennui. I'm not sure that counts. I I'll put it in neutral. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Yes, he likes being thorough. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Yes, he likes bold ideas, unconventional ideas, and speaking up, debating. He doesn't do it much because he doesn't like talking to people, but he likes the idea of it. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone needed it more. No, he's very goal-oriented. You struggle with deadlines. No, he can meet them easily. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Do they ever work out for anyone? We always die. An apple a day, you die anyway, would be his motto. So I don't think he will, though he's not turbulent, but he's just pessimistic. And he's an architect. Wow, this is amazing. I think that this will fit him really well. So he is very much introverted. He is this is interesting. He's more intuitive than observant. That's quite unexpected. Definitely more thinking than feeling, definitely judging, definitely assertive, is not turbulent. Read my profile. Let's see. Thought constitutes the greatness of man. Man is a reed, the feeblest thing in nature, but he is a thinking reed. Blaise Pascal, I love this. This is just spot on for him. I need to have this quote in the novel. Rational and quick-witted architects pride themselves on their ability to think for themselves, not to mention their uncanny knack for seeing right through phoniness and hypocrisy. Because their minds are never at rest, architects may struggle to find people who keep up with their non-stop analysis of everything around them. Definitely, he comes off as very judgmental, even though he is not a traditionalist. He's not very conventional, but he is quite judgmental nonetheless. A pioneering spirit. Yes, he questions everything, definitely, and he is ever skeptical. He prefers to make his own discoveries. He isn't afraid to break the rules or risk disapproval. In fact, he rather enjoys it. Yes, this really reflects on his teenage self. I guess less so, or less apparently, on his adult self. Okay. He wants to be successful, not just inventive. Yeah, definitely. This is why he is good at his job and he is quite successful and well off. Even though he doesn't particularly enjoy the work that he does. He doesn't mind acting alone, perhaps because he doesn't like waiting around for others to catch up with him. Yes, he is very quick-witted and he is very efficient in things that he does, and he easily loses patience with other people. This lone wolf behavior can come across as insensitive, and it does, as it fails to take into considerations other people's thoughts, desires, and plans. Yes, he would make decisions without caring about how it affects other people, just because he thinks it is the best and more efficient decision, and he decides things for others, even his boyfriend. Architects can be both the boldest of dreamers and the bitterest of pessimists. I love this one. This is fantastic. He may be cynical about human nature more generally, assuming that most people are lazy, unimaginative, or simply doomed to mediocrity. This is fantastic. In school, he may have been called bookworms or nerds, but rather than taking these labels as insults, he embraces them. He recognizes his own ability to teach himself about and master any topic that interests them, whether that's coding or capera or classical music. Yes, totally. Definitely, he has little patience for frivolity. This is why, sometimes he feels that what Ulf likes is frivolous. He's known for being warm and fuzzy. Definitely not. He tends to prioritize rationality and success over politeness and pleasantries. he'd rather be right than popular. Definitely, and this is why he is the kind of leader that he is. Good. They are imaginative yet decisive, ambitious yet private, curious yet focused. From the outside, these contradictions may seem baffling, but they make perfect sense once you understand the inner workings of the architect mind. And Ulf finds Ivar very intriguing, and he loves discovering him. And this happens the other way around as well. Because Ivar is so analytical, he wants to analyze Ulf because he finds him intriguing. Strengths and weaknesses. He's rational, informed, independent, determined, curious, and original, but he can be arrogant, dismissive of emotions because rationality is king, overly critical, combative, socially clueless. Yes, that's true. And he may become cynical about the value of relationships, questioning the importance of love and connection. Fantastic. But once he finds somebody intriguing, though this happens very, very rarely, he will reconsider this. Romantic relationships. Let's see how he fares with Ulf. As Bertrand Russell said, of all forms of caution, caution in love is perhaps the most fatal to true happiness. And that's true, and I think he exercises too much caution when he first meets Ulf. So this is the one decision that he will regret and second guess from his past. He approaches romances strategically with clear-cut goals and a plan for achieving them. But love is rarely rational, as he comes to understand, especially with someone as impulsive and emotional as Ulf. If he applies a relentlessly critical eye to every potential partner, they may find themselves constantly dissatisfied. This is why he is alone for the most part of his life until he is 34 in the novel. And yes, he's very critical of everyone, including his partner. He values depth, intelligence, and unmitigated honesty, which is interesting because he sees intelligence and the bluntness of Ulf at a first glance, and then he also discovers his depth. So their relationship is founded on these values. This is why he doesn't do dating. When their partner shares strong feelings, architect's default is often to shut down or to analyze the situation rather than simply listening and offering support. And I dare say that this happens in his relationship with Ulf, and it is a problem. And he feels uncomfortable and exposed to share the inner workings of their own hearts. He doesn't have a problem sharing his mind. Wow, this is very interesting, and I really love this result. It fits Ivar like a glove, the architect personality. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for a new analysis of one of my original characters' personalities. Until next time.